get ready to. All right, you good with that?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Hey, and welcome to Strip Down What's Stuck with Cynthia Varkevisser. And I am very proud and happy to have Alys Sadler here with me to do a coaching. Now, Strip Down What's Stuck, what we do is we take one thing that is a challenge and we bring it down to its essence, do a quick 3-step RX on how to have you move over, under, around, or through your challenge. How's that sound?
Awesome.
All right, great. So what Allie and I have been talking offline is that she does amazing work with people in her business, writing resumes. So it has to do with their story. However, there's a part of her that is releasing triggers to a traumatic experience from about 10 years ago, you said? Mm-hmm. Okay. So here's what I wanted to tell you. From the last time we spoke, your energy has shifted. So you've been doing some really good work. And I want you to know that there's actually like a huge download that's coming in. So I want you to be very kind to yourself because it's almost like you went to school, had such a good time that you decided to do a summer school intensive. So it's a lot of information and a lot to cull through. And what I want to remind you is that this is extra credit. So don't feel like you have to take on everything right now. Okay. So the thing that Allie was talking about is that she is empathic, and empathic means that you take on other people's energy without really recognizing that you're taking on their energy. And because it's not recognized, it stays in your personal energetic field, which means it adds weight to who you are. Now, not physical weight, but energetic weight. And that Allie's been working through this. What I want you to know, Allie, is that when we are talking about being empathic, and when you were talking about the people that you've been working with and someone whose energy an old supervisor is the best way to say it, old supervisor, and their energy, what came up for me as you were talking is we actually talked about it, that as that person actually came up, there was panic there, right? And that it caused trauma. Now, the beauty of the trauma that is if there's beautiful trauma, I do believe there's something that's called beautiful trauma, but with this trauma is that every time you had this trauma, it was like putting saran wrap in your energy field, and then saran wrap in your energy field, and saran wrap. So you have all these layers, and it turned into a thickness. But because it's saran wrap, you can go ahead and scrape away. It's not something that you have to really, really work hard at. It's about being gentle and releasing a little bit at a time. Okay. So that's the beauty of the type of trauma that you had, which is, when they say that death by 1,000 cuts. Have you heard that before? That's exactly what this trauma is for you. It was a death by 1,000 cuts. So it's not like one big thing, but it was just a wearing down over time. Okay, makes sense? I've lost your voice again. I'm so sad. So hopefully I'll get that again really soon. So what I find very interesting, and what we were talking about is that now you're working with people who are now in your situation. They've either lost their job or they're not happy with their job. And what I want you to know is your superpower is that you actually heal them through their resume. You heal people through their resumes. And it's not just about boosting their story, but actually having them recognize their own value as they give their story to you. Does that make sense when I say that? Okay, so I'm horrible at lip reading, but I think you just said absolutely, right?
Yes.
There you are. Okay, so what I'd like you to do is just know that you're healing as you're healing these people. However, I'd like you to fast track, because you've been fast tracking on everything else. Okay, so the best way to fast track right now is I want to have you boost your energy level. Now, when I say that, it's not about your stamina or things like that. What I'd like you to do is I'd like you to do some really, really simple things in order for you to clear your space so that when people come in and they do the resume writing with you, that you are not, that you can be compassionate about their work without having it trigger your experiences so that you can keep moving along. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, great. Do these people come in person or or is this more online and video?
It is now online and Zoom. We meet on Zoom.
Perfect. So what I'd like you to do is before you meet with your clients, okay, I'd like you to do one of two things. I find that you're very visual, so a visualization would be really good. First thing I would like you to do is I'd like you to thank yourself for the opportunity of being of service, of highest service. Okay, that's number one. Number two, thank the universe or whomever you call the higher, whatever you call your higher energy, your source energy, for the opportunity to heal as they heal. And then the third is to allow the energy, because you are visual, allow the energy come in from you so that you're a channel of information, and allow the bubble to appear, or a channel or a flow of energy to appear. And let this energy be whatever color that it wants to be. Okay, now here's the thing that's really interesting just for you, that as you go in and you do your I'll call it your clearing, as you do your clearing, it's going to be one color, or maybe not even a color, it may feel like a light, and then it'll change to a color. When that color happens, that is not for you, that is for your client. And then what will happen is you will know in what area you will be of service to your client. Okay. Okay. Now I'm of a philosophy that everyone's dictionary is different. So even though you and I may have similarities in some of our symbols, that there is just enough differentiation that it has to come from you. So I call it your intuitive dictionary. Okay. So I want you, so feel free to go through whatever books and colors to say what, what that is and how you're going to work with this person. And allow yourself the opportunity to have your own spin on it. Does that make sense?
Hmm.
Okay. So for me, like, I love orange. Orange for me is individuality, but that's not for everybody, right? It's about being out and individual, but it's not about everything. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So once you know that, you know exactly how you want this person needs to be boosted. So if you were to see me and then orange, you're like, okay, so using my dictionary, so Cynthia really needs to feel like she's an outstanding, unique individual. And so I'm going to play to that as I talk to her. The resume will probably end up being the same magical thing that you do. But what'll happen is by you focusing this way, you don't take on my energy, and whatever you channel goes straight out of you and goes for them, which is exactly what you want to be. You want to be a channel. Does that make sense?
Exactly.
Okay, great. So that's what I'd like you to do, because what that does is it doesn't, you don't get any residue. So even though you're working really diligently on improving your emotional health and your physical health because of your emotional health, it won't pick up, you get to stay sparkly clean, and then you're only working with your own shit. Okay.
That's great. Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah.
So there's that. The other thing that if you haven't thought about is, are you thinking about expanding your business at all?
Absolutely. Always.
Always. So have you ever thought about people who are just starting out in the job market and talking with them, or no? Age ranges?
Yeah, like, young people that are just out of high school or maybe in high school, it's their first job. Yeah, I've done youth resumes as well.
Do you
Some
like,
people who they don't have anything for a resume in terms of work history because they've never had a job. So we have to pull from what kinds of work they've done at home.
right?
Yeah.
And so have you considered beefing that area up at all?
I haven't really thought about that. I think that I'm more inclined to work with adults who are in transition somehow or want to be in transition. So that's the primary focus of my work, but I'm not opposed to helping young people because I think that it's really important for them to be able to identify what skills do they have, what do they like to do, what do they want to do, and if they don't know, it's a really good chance for me to help them in that area to be able to understand how they figure it out.
So I love that. And here's why I'm hearing what I'm hearing is you are healing two types of people. Okay. And yet they're coming from the same place, which is lack of self-worth. And so what you're doing is that the people that are your target market, right? Those who are in transition, what you're doing is that you're giving them a healing story from the beginning of their work journey till where they are currently, right? So you're healing that aspect, which is really lovely, and then boosting them. Now, I'm not saying that this has to be your main source. However, there is a demographic that really needs your help, and they are those who are very sincere and young, and they need healing from childhood to current. And that is pretty deep work that you can do very simply without taking any of your energy. Does that make sense when I say that? Okay. So financially, I don't know how that would work. It sounds like for me, it's more of a recognition that will boost you in a different way. Does that make sense? So it doesn't, like I said, doesn't have to be your mainstay. But the way that it sounds like to me is that you can pick a school and then you could track the school over time what the success rate is. And then you could use that, and that it's a funny way to be a big boost to your business, which is very interesting to me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it sounds a little bit, I am also a certified life coach, and I've used to, when I would meet with clients in person before we had the pandemic, I was able to meet with people and they would come in, let's say they would come in for a resume, but we ended up talking about their life because it's so finely integrated, our work and our jobs and our livelihood with who we are and how we feel about how we are in this world and what we do. So it's interesting how the life coaching piece just kind of evolved to be able to help those people have some area of identity outside of the things around them. And then that pulled in where the career pathway could evolve and where we might land before, and then we could get started on our resume. But it
Right.
might go, yeah. So it's a process. So I can see where, young people who are just entering the workforce, what do you do? And what if you don't want to work at McDonald's?
Yeah. Which a lot of
It's
people
not
don't. A lot of kids don't want to do that anymore.
right. And and depending on their age, because then there's the work permit, at least in California, we have that age sector where some companies don't hire until 17 or 18. But some places do hire at 16. So in that way, they're a little more limited. However, if they need a job right now, it's a short-term answer to a long-term goal. So it might be just until your birthday, but by that time, you'll have a whole different resume because you'll have some work history.
Right.
We can build on the resume as they move through their work, their personal work history.
It's kind of the feeling that I have are seniors in high school that are either taking a gap year or they don't feel like they can financially go to college, or they don't have an interest because school isn't as interesting, but they are driven enough that they have an idea that they want to make something. And so they're people who want to make money right away. So they're not the kids who just want to get a job for job's sake, but they really want to set themselves on something in order to go and hit, so that this is the best way to say it. And actually, I just want you to know that this is a digress, because we need to go back to your healing. But here's the last piece of the digression, is that the people that you'd be working with, the kids that you'd be working with, are seniors who don't want to go to school. However, they don't want to be financially behind everybody when they come out of college. And there are other ways to get through that. So they have drive, they have commitment, they have all these things. They just don't know how to get the toehold into the door. And so these are the people that you would be working with. And the success rate would be kind of amazing for you, which kind of is an interesting testimonial to your breadth of work. Now, I apologize for the digression. I totally have
No worries.
idea there. Let's go back. I want to talk to you also about, it's not also, because of this huge download that you're getting, right? It's really important for you to stay of this world, because we are in 3-dimension bodies. And so we have to stay in alignment with our 3-dimension bodies as we continue on spiritually. Does that make sense? Okay. So you're doing this amazing work, but because you're so sensitive to everybody's information, that this is how the empathic, the pains and aches have been showing up in your body. Now that you know how to release, you're getting energy and information from your crown chakra down, which means that you're still getting a barrage of information. Now it's not from other human beings, but it's from a download from higher source. Okay. This can still cause the same kind of stress, because it's fun to get this information, as well as sometimes you get hits of information when you're not prepared to get hits of information. Okay. And this can actually, for you, lead to fatigue. And you're at a place right now, you're in a year where it's all about getting bigger, right? Bigger picture, getting bigger, really looking out and seeing how much you can hold, and kind of having fun with that. What I'd like you to do is, I'd like you to, every morning when you wake up, as well as before you go to sleep, I want you, not an intention, but basically to just say a thing of, based on my energy level, this is the amount I'd like to learn. That's pretty much. Okay. And I want you to know that that intention is for yourself. There are 3 bodies in my belief system. There's your physical 3D body, there's your energetic body that you're working on, and then there's your spiritual body, which you're also working on through your emotional body, right? You specifically. And so what you're doing is that you're making this promise to your energetic body, so that your spiritual body doesn't inundate you in a way that you can be inundated. All right. Do you have any questions around that?
I think that fits right where I am, and what I know about what I'm moving through right now.
You're moving through a lot. You're moving through a lot. And you are this person that takes big gulps of information. Like they're showing me, it's a type of, is it a shark or a whale that takes in only krill, but they open their mouth really wide and they suck in as much krill as possible. And that's where you are right now. So you're opening your mouth really wide, which is absolutely beautiful. However, your information is not krill. Your information is bigger pieces of, right? Bigger pieces. And so what you want to do is you want to give yourself permission to, it's not dim the channel, but just hone your channel a little bit so that you're not getting such huge pieces of information. I just lost your voice again.
Let me move my computer.
There you
and
are.
see. Okay, good. I think that that's a great piece of advice, and I will absolutely use it because you are right on target. And I really didn't know, I didn't have an idea of how it's all happening. So this is really helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, no, you're welcome. Well, here's the thing. It's really beautiful. As you're opening up all these energetic, emotional channels within your body, it's leaving, which is creating space. And so it's not emptiness, it's expansiveness, right? And so because you're feeling lighter, you're like, bring it on. And then the universe is like, okay. And, right. And so
Yeah.
then what you're doing is that you're putting on a similar pressure, and you just don't want to, you don't want to do it again. So, you want it to be like they say in, when they rate the movies, age appropriate. So you want it to be energy appropriate. And so you don't have to check your energy. Just trust that when you make your commitment to yourself, that your energetic body is going to talk to your physical body and your spiritual body, and they're all going to work accordingly, because right now they're not. Does that make sense?
So I totally feel that. And this is great. This is really great. It's my next thing to do.
It's really simple, really simple. One sentence in the evening, one sentence in the morning, and then just know that it's going to recalibrate for you. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. It's going to take a couple of weeks because of your habits. You've got great habits. But you'll note differences immediately. Okay. Do you have any questions around this?
No, I can't think of any. Probably when I start to do it, I'll have questions.
Give me a call. I'm happy to talk about it. So let's just talk about a couple. So let me just kind of recap what your RX is. So your RX is that you're going to do your commitment to your energetic body in the morning and in the evening, right? And that you're going to go ahead and do a visualization before each client, right? And that your visualization is 2 parts, right? One is that it's going to be for yourself, and then there's going to be 3 parts. There's going to be a gratitude, and then there's going to be a channel, and the channel, the first color is yours, and the second color is theirs. Okay. And if there's only one color, it doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. It means that you're working from the same energetic space. Okay. So there's that. And then the last piece is kind of, I won't call it a throwaway, but it's so optional, which is, now that you know that you're a healer, right? If you want to, you can work with a second demographic, but that is completely optional.
Come into my knowingness that I am a healer. I just wasn't sure how that played out. How am I a healer? But you're right. I know that I make people feel better. I mean, they feel better after we talk because of the things we talk about that are really important to them, at least in the arena that I can speak from.
So here's the thing. Yeah, you're a lovely healer, and by helping them, you're not rewriting their story, they're changing perspective of their story. Okay.
I have a testimonial from a client that says exactly that. And I read that and went, oh gosh, that's refreshing,
Yeah. So here's the beauty of it. Now that you know that you're a healer about changing perspective, and that you know how to approach people without it affecting yourself, right? You're going to be even more effective. So don't be surprised if your sessions either become shorter or they won't need as many sessions, which brings on a whole set of new things for you. But now that you know what your superpower is, it's going to go much more quickly for you. The way that you heal people is going to go much more quickly. And yeah, you're not doing anything. Well, a lot of times people go, something must be wrong with me. No, everything is right with you when you're going that quickly. Okay. Okay. I can't hear you again. Do you have any other questions? I know.
Don't you love it? I love technology, but sometimes.
I know. I know. Do you have any questions about what we just went over?
No, I'm actually I didn't take notes, but I'm gonna stop when we're finished and I'm gonna write it all down so that I remember how to follow through.
Yeah, well, you know what? This is also podcast style. So
Right,
I will set you up with the link
Okay,
and you can feel free to go back at any time. All right.
yeah, great. Thank you so much. I'm really grateful. So very
Oh,
grateful.
I'm grateful as well. Thank you so much for trusting me and taking out this time to work with me. And just know that this is open to anybody. So if you know any other people who have a challenge, let them know. All right.
I absolutely will.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Great. Well, let me go ahead and finish and say, I am Cynthia Varkevisser, and I'm here with the lovely Alys Sadler, and we have just finished up a session of Strip Down What's Stuck. If you want to know more about it, just take a look at the notes below for all the information. Thanks. All right.